Thank you to everyone that's tuning back into another CSE newly listed clip. I'm Anil Mall, representing the Canadian Securities Exchange, and today I'm talking to Michael Collins, who is the CEO of Nuclear Fuels. It's a newly listed company, of course, on the CSE, trades under the symbol NF. Michael, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I hope you're well.
Good day, Anil. Yes, doing well, and thank you for having me on today.
Absolutely. First I want to start off, welcome you and your team to the CSE. I know it's a busy time as you begin trading, but I want to talk a little bit about not just nuclear fuels and what the company does, but I want to get your insight a little bit into the critical metals market, specifically uranium. What sort of trends are you seeing right now, and why should investors be paying attention to the space?
Yeah, the macros in the uranium space are particularly solid, I think. Right now, we're seeing a couple things. Number one, environmental groups and media reach consensus that nuclear power is part of the green future. It's a carbon neutral source of energy that's always on, and that's a key aspect of all of this. Beyond that, we also have constraints in supply with Kazakhstan and Russia sort of being pushed out of the Western uranium supply market, as well as in America, the government looking to reshore uranium supply. So the U.S. market is about 40 million pounds per year, and they don't produce. I think they produce less than 1 million pounds a year right now. That's slowly building, but there's a real concern about that growing and becoming more self-sustaining in America.
And so Nuclear Fuels as a company, talk to us a little bit about what your focus is as a company and a team.
Yeah, so our core project really is Kaycee, Wyoming, where we've got a historic database of 3,700 drill holes across, I think, a 26-mile stretch of roll front area. We're looking at in situ recovery or ISR, as it's more commonly shortened to, where we pump oxygenated water into a uranium-enriched sedimentary rock, and then we withdraw uranium enriched water from that, and then basically push it through a resin bed, and then we push that water back down in the aquifer, and you cycle it through, and you basically clean the uranium out of the aquifer. And you're looking at aquifers that are already condemned because they have a fair bit of uranium in them, so they're not good for, farming or cattle or anything like that. So it's actually a very low impact way of producing uranium. There's no pits, there's no tunnels. So it's the communities really appreciate that. And it's actually less expensive. The capital expenditures to build a production facility are much less than you would be if you were excavating large, vast quantities of rock. So it's a great place to be in the world that we live today, and what people want to see mining to look like.
And so that's the Kaycee project in the Wyoming region.
Yeah.
And you have a project in Arizona that you're exploring and developing for the same ISR uranium.
Yeah. So we've got the Moonshine project down in Arizona, and that's ISR as well. We've got some historic resources there that we're looking to bring into compliance, and we're chasing down data to see if we can expand on what we already know on that project. Very similar to Kaycee, but a little smaller in size. Kaycee is kind of unique in a way because we also have an agreement built into that project where if we meet a certain threshold, 15 million pounds measured and indicated, then we have a partner in bringing that into production in Encore. And they pay us 2.5 times our exploration dollars and carry us to production on 49% interest. So that's very unique for an exploration company to have that kind of opportunity to grow.
Yeah, it's a very interesting way to structure it. And then the third project that the company's focused on is in the region of Labrador.
So we're focused on our uranium targets in the Straits area project to the south of Port Hope Simpson. And we've got some really great results there historically from 2009 that were never followed up, ranging from about 1% to 6.7. So we're tracking down those sample locations and trying to get a better handle on the geology and the scale of that opportunity. But we think it's a pretty exciting spot to be in.
Mike, I know you've touched on these points a little bit here, but I want to ask you. So the three regions, Wyoming, Labrador, and Arizona, what are some of the benefits of exploring and developing projects in the uranium space traditionally?
All right. So Wyoming in particular is a premier uranium development area. There's a proven path and track for developing in situ recovery mines there, about 2 to 3 years, and then they only take about a year to build. So we're talking about mines in our lifetime. In Arizona, it's probably a little bit longer, but the grade of that project is about, it's I believe 1.16% uranium on the historic resources, and that's about double what most in situ recovery mines average in terms of their production grade. So it's exciting in that sense. And then in Labrador, we've got the opportunity to make a discovery and build something new, and discovery really is one of the most exciting and wealth creating things we can do in our business. So,
Michael, you've really summarized this and explained it in a way that even someone like myself, who's not very educated on the uranium space, can understand. I want to ask you a little bit about your background. Tell us that obviously this is not your first company that you're working on, but talk to our audience a little bit about your background. How did you get into this space?
fair enough. So I'm a geologist by trade, and I took control of management of my first public company in 2005 and built Blue Rock Resources, which was actually the only new conventional uranium producer in sort of the 2009 uranium cycle in Colorado, Utah. So that was a great learning experience. I kind of stepped away from uranium for a while, and I've worked in gold space, run engineering company offices, managing feasibility studies and things like that, really expanding the breadth of my experience over the full economic value chain of discovering and building mines. And about a year and a half ago, I kind of came back to uranium and was looking at it going, well, I think this is real. We're looking at a uranium price that it goes up a couple dollars every few months, and it just keeps increasing in price. The demand keeps increasing in price. We're hearing, Ontario has just requested, or they're starting to permit small modular reactors there, as well as an expansion of the Bruce Power Station. So we're seeing growth in actual demand for uranium that's real. It's not speculative. This is a space that I think it's just going to get better over the next few years. So it's really the right place to be, and very exciting. Excited to be back in uranium after all these years.
So, Mike, you want to talk to our audience a little bit about some of your key team members that you've brought on board to make sure that you have the right support to succeed?
Absolutely. So I guess I could point to Bill Sheriff, who is our chair, and Bill and I actually were involved in the conventional projects in the U.S. Southwest on the last cycle. So he's come in as chair, and also the key projects, Kaycee and also Moonshine, have come out of Encore Uranium, which is his uranium production company. They're on the verge of going into production in the U.S. With contracts in place with utilities and things like that. David Miller ran Strathmore. It was an ISR-focused company in the last cycle as well. He's been involved in the uranium game, and he was the only person out there who was smart enough to pick up on Kaycee as a target this go around. And so we did a option deal on some of his claims, number one, and we also brought him on board as a director because he just knows an awful lot. He's a key guy in Wyoming. We've got key geologists like Gene Spearing, who wrote a report back in 1982 on the Kaycee district, as well as Larry Lahausen, who was a key conventional uranium guy in southern Utah over the years. But we also have younger people. We have a project manager at Kaycee who cut his teeth in uranium in the last cycle. He's only 42. Crazy. That's young in our business. But we've got some the people all the way through the value chain where we can see, the right person in the right job, and people who are excited about what we're doing.
Seems like you have great projects, excellent region, a good team. Do you have any competition or peers in this space?
There are, certainly in Labrador, we've got Labrador Uranium and a number of other companies hunting around in the Central Mineral Belt. We've kind of captured the district in the Straits Project area. In the U.S., we're seeing a number of people popping up. Consolidated Uranium is spinning out Premier American Uranium, I believe. In any case, and then there's a couple of Australian companies as well. But I don't know if any of those groups have the data that we have, and that's been one of the great things of working with Encore is the depth of data that they have. Bill Sheriff in particular has been building his private uranium database since the 1980s. So, if we're looking at a project, we can kind of see, well, is there actually information to give us a head start? Because you don't want to have to re-drill everything. It just doesn't make any sense.
And it costs a lot of money.
It does. Yes, it's ridiculous. Yeah. And time, actually. So time is almost more important than money in all of the things we do.
Yeah.
So to have that start, even if the drilling only gives you guide points that, well, we know it's not on this side and it's probably a little bit northwest of there, then you're looking at successful first holes as opposed to, we'll have something for you. We know something's there, but it might take us 2 years.
Yeah. Now, obviously the company, as I mentioned earlier, just has begun trading on the CSE. What are some of the milestones that our viewers and your investors can look out for from you and your team in the latter half of 2023?
All right. So we're looking for results from Labrador coming out fairly soon. And those will both be for uranium and rare earths. That we actually started working there in late winter, doing some small ground programs. And then we've been doing helicopter supported targeting for some of these more distal uranium targets that we have. We should have a drill turning at Kaycee fairly shortly. And one of the beautiful things about in situ recovery uranium is you're looking at assaying through gamma logs, which means you drill the hole and then the logging truck rolls up, hopefully within the next day or so, and you end up with readings from your drill holes within sort of 24 hours. And so there's not this big long wait for assay labs and things like that. Where you're like, oh, it's going to be 6 weeks. Oh, no, well, now it's 12 because it's the middle of summer and the labs are all backed up. So this fall, we're looking to be able to present data fairly regularly to our investors and people who are just interested in what we're doing, maybe not investors yet. So it should be pretty exciting. Looking for a good year.
As you say, maybe not investors yet. We always encourage our viewers to do their due diligence. I would encourage anyone watching that is curious to go to your website, of course, sign up for your upcoming press releases, read up on your projects, your background, your team, and of course, reach out to you and your team should they be interested in learning more or have any questions. So where would you point our viewers to go sign up for releases and get more information?
Yeah, and we're always interested in answering people's questions, and we do try to take the time to do that. Our website is nuclearfuels.energy.
Information is also available on the CSE website. All you have to do is, obviously just search up the ticker symbol of the name of the company. All your filings and bulletins are there as well. Michael, I really enjoyed this conversation. I appreciate you taking the time to join me and our audience to talk a little bit about what your focus is at Nuclear Fuels. We at the CSE wish you and your team nothing but success as you move forward in this landscape. And we, of course, look forward to hosting you on maybe towards the end of the year when you have more stuff to talk about and giving our audience an update on the company. So I appreciate and thank you for your time.
Thanks, Anil. I really appreciate the opportunity to update you and also your viewers. And I look forward to, we'll be back in the fall, I'm sure.
Great. To everybody watching, you've been listening to Michael Collins. He's the CEO of Nuclear Fuels Inc., trades on the CSE under the symbol NF. Thank you for watching. Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Neil. Bye-bye.